update again from me from China. Um, so I moved to a new place. This is it. I have some cute lights in the back because Christmas is coming up. Um, sorry. uh, there's really a lot of pollution right now, so my voice is a little bit of trouble with it. Um, but there were some things I wanted to talk about. so yeah, I wanted to talk about like what it's like, let's say, dating in China. So this is kind of like a story time, but it's not really only in China. It's dating in Asia. Um, the reason why, well, uh, yeah, I've had some weird things happening. Funny, but also quite weird. In China, let's first talk about how to meet people, I guess. So there are several ways to meet people. Most commonly is to be introduced to someone. That's normally like when you're more serious. So friends will introduce you to another friend. Um, Other ways are obviously like in bars or in clubs, stuff like that. With that, I have a lot more experience. Um, to be fair, I haven't really dated anyone because, well, you will understand in a little bit. Actually, it also happens like you just meet someone on the street and they tell you, "Oh, you're pretty," blah 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 blah, and they ask your WeChat, and that's it. Let me tell you about the first time I encountered a boy. Well, it sounds so stupid. The first time a Chinese guy asked my WeChat. I was just walking. I was doing some groceries. I had my earplugs in, and I was not really like I want to talk with anyone. The Chinese guy came up to me, and so I said, "Oh, 不要, 不要, 不要," because I thought he was gonna sell me something. So I walk on, and he comes like after me, running after me, and he like taps me. I'm like, what? And he's like, "Oh no, nothing. Like I just wanted to say that I think you're very beautiful." And I'm like, "Thanks." Awkward. And he's like, "Yeah," and I wondered maybe if I can have your WeChat. At that time, I was not really guarded yet, so I was like, "Yeah, sure. Here's my WeChat." It was like I think the first Chinese person I had a contact of. Um, Within I think 5 minutes, I think he was texting me like a lot, and I was like, he's like, "Oh, it's so nice to meet you. You're so beautiful." Blah 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 blah, and I was like, "Thanks. It was really nice to meet you. Nice that you can speak English," but because he could speak English. So then he's like, "I really like you." Like, really, like in the fourth sentence or something. Within 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, thanks. Like, I did hear the stories about it that they're really quick with that. And then he asked, like, "Oh, can we go out sometime?" And I said, like, "Well, maybe, yeah, we can grab like a cup of tea or coffee or something like that." He's like, "Oh, cool, cool, cool." And like we were talking that like for a day, it's really funny, and for me it was nice to talk with someone in English because that's not that common here, especially not from a Chinese person. I was just here, and like in the same day he asked if he could come to my place, and I said, "Why?" And he really, really, this was the sentence: "I want to sleep with you." I was like, "What? What?" So he's like, "Yeah, I want to sleep with you." I said, "Okay, well, that's not gonna happen. Definitely not." Like, being stupid enough to actually reply to it, you know. And then he's like, "Oh, but I love you." What? He literally said, "I love you." Like, this was seriously what he said to me. "I love you." And I was like, "I'm sorry? We barely know each other." He's like, "Oh, so you don't love me?" I'm like, "No, I don't. I don't know you." oh, oh, okay. He's like, well, do you want to go for a tea or coffee right now? I was like, it's 11 in the evening. And he's like, yeah, but later, after, we can go to your place. I'm like, no, no, we're not. We're not gonna do that. So yeah. Well, you can guess I deleted him. And I was like, okay, this was just probably just one very strange person because, I always heard that the Chinese are very, you know, one type of person. It was not. It happened many, many times. And this is the disturbing part. So you meet them and they seem very friendly. And they are, to be fair, they are very friendly. They're very nice. But they have this idea that foreigners have a lot of sex with everybody. And they tend to ask. To be fair, they're very straight up. They will actually tell you in your face within a few sentences, you want to sleep with me? And you're like, what? Like, you're just confused. You're like, what? Did you just really ask me that? It's it's utterly strange. It is. It's utterly strange. So, that's my impression, kind of, with Chinese guys. Um, Towards foreigners, to be fair, because with Chinese girls, they're very different. Um, so yeah, it's difficult. After I went to Korea, and Korea is very different, extremely different. So I met a guy. We were talking. We met each other through Facebook, and he was talking. Very nice person. So we were talking, and he's like, "Oh, do you want to go for dinner?" I said, "Yeah, sure, why not? I'm in Korea. Don't really know my way." And he's like, yeah, like, it's no problem. And so we were talking and things, and we're hanging out, and yeah, I don't know, maybe I find very strange people. So, especially for Asia, I am very curvy. Like, I'm also chubby, but I'm also curvy, if you know what I mean. Like, let's just say in the West, I would be normal, but like with extra assets. Like, I hate. So, he said to me, really, during the dinner, he was like eating almost nothing, and he was super skinny, but I just considered him a friend anyways. And he was like, yeah, you're so beautiful, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm so used to that right now because you hear that a lot in China. So I was like, thanks. I was like, you're not gonna eat more? He's like, no, I enjoy watching you eat. Okay, thanks. Like, do you want me to make you another plate? I was like, he's like, yeah, there's this nice thing, and I want you to try it. I'm like, okay, let me try it. So he made me another plate. So I didn't finish the first plate because obviously I'm not gonna eat like 4 plates of food because he already made me 3 plates. And it's like just trying things. And so after he's like, oh yeah, try this. And I tried it, and then he's telling me like, I so enjoyed what you eat. And I was like this in my brain, like, danger, danger, danger. It was so creepy. So I was like, okay, I don't know what you want me to say to that. He's like, yeah, I really just enjoy watching you eat. I'm like, okay. And he's like, yeah, I really like it when girls have more shape in their bodies, thicker legs, blah 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 blah. And I was like, uh-huh. And this guy was like this. Like, his upper arm was like my thumb. Like, he was super skinny. I was like, uh-huh. I think I've seen this on TV, and I was like, oh my god, you're a feeder, aren't you? You are. He's like, you want to eat some more? You want some dessert? And I'm like, nope. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. No, thank you. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Nope. So, um, that was a one-time meeting. Never again. And then he still texts me, like, and he texts me hearts and stuff like that. And I was like, really? Really? I felt so uncomfortable. And, oh, and I met a few other people. Like I met a very nice Korean guy, um, who was an Air Force pilot. He was a very nice person, very sweet. And um, later I met some other guy. So it was a Korean guy. He was on, I believe he was like 32 or something. So we met in Korea, and after like a few days, I had to go back to China. So I went back home, and he was texting me. He was like, "Yeah, it was really nice to meet you." Blah blah blah. Yeah, it was nice to meet you too. You know, he's like, "Yeah, I really like you." And I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "Is it worth it for me to come to China?" And I was like, "Why?" And he's like, "Yeah, for you." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know. Like, you have to think. Like, I haven't even hold his hand or anything. Like, I'm like, well, if you want to go to China, you can. I can show you around, but don't come just for me." And he's like, "Yeah, but you know, I want to blah blah blah." And he actually did that within 2 weeks. Yeah, within 2 weeks, he was here for a few days, which was kind of awkward. But also nice. Like I told him, like, yeah, no, we can be friends, and like I can show you around and stuff. That's not a problem. So that we did, and it was fun and very nice. But that's the thing. Um, like he started talking about marriage and stuff, and I was like, oh god, that's so scary. Um, for me, like my old relationship was very long, and I actually only dated one guy, and um, the guys that I meet, and like that was the thing. Like I, we kissed that kind of, and doesn't really matter, I guess. Within like 2 or 3 days, he started talking about marriage. That was super strange. Ooh, and I remember there was this other Chinese guy. So he was also 30, um, and we were talking, and like I met him in Taidong. Like he was helping me out because I was being bothered by some Chinese people. Like they were taking my picture a lot. That does happen, but it was really a lot. So he's like, after a while, like, you need some help. I'm like, oh please, yes. And he could speak English, so he came from Beijing. Yeah, Beijing. Um, and he's like, yeah, I'm here just waiting for my coworkers, or we're here just for a business trip. I'm like, oh, okay, okay, okay. And we were talking. He's like, you know, if you don't want to, you don't have to give it to me, but can I maybe have your WeChat? Because, you know, it's very rare to meet a foreigner and that it can speak English, blah, blah, blah. So I said, yeah, sure, sure, sure. Even though it's not true, because in Beijing there are a lot of foreigners. So gave him his WeChat, my WeChat to him, and he gave his and stuff like that. And we texted a little bit, and I think within a day, he started asking about what I think about marriage. And I was like, yeah, I want to get married someday. Someday. Not now. And he's like, okay, okay, okay. And what do you think about children? I said, I want a kid later, yeah. Not now. And then he's like, yeah, yeah, because I really do think like we're a good match and we could get married within a year. And I was like, what? And he was like going on, and I'm like, and I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, you don't have to be afraid. My parents support this. They also think it would be smart if I have like a half blood baby. Yes, he said half blood baby. Because they're prettier, so they will find work easier, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I don't even know what to say to this. So I actually told him after a while, like, I'm sorry, but no, we're not meeting or talking anymore. Um, he tried to add me again a few times through other numbers or other social media, and I was like, no, 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 not gonna happen. Seriously. Um, yeah, that's something about here in China. They're um very much like that till now. Or you have the other extreme. Actually, you have the very shy people that are very nice, and Um, they talk to you and stuff, and you're friends for a very, very long time until one day they will actually dare to ask you out, but it takes a long, long, long time. Everybody tells me like, um, like I have some people that I'm like, oh, these are my friends. They're like, no, they like you. I'm like, how do you know? And like, sweetie, the way he acts and stuff, he likes you. I'm like, well, compared to the Chinese people that I met in the past, and they're like, oh, sweetie, no, 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 no. This is a shy guy. He's different. He probably really wants to date you instead of just, fun. So, that's the difference between that. So yeah, the last one takes a lot longer, but it's probably a lot more worth it. So that's basically about dating in Asia right now. I, what my experience is, obviously, but I did want to share it because it's very funny and entertaining. And in case someone is curious about it, don't be afraid of it though. They're very friendly people, and that's one really good thing about them. When you say no, they listen. They are like, okay, no. Um, doesn't mean they won't try to like still keep chatting with you and stuff, but they do get the message. No. Okay, well, for now I'm going to say goodbye because it's like 16 minutes already, and I'm not gonna edit this because I'm too lazy. So, I hope you enjoyed it, and if my mom is watching, sorry, mom. Well, actually, you always told me to get more dating experience, and here I'm definitely getting that. Okay, bye.